Hi there, welcome once again to the Immaculate Confections YouTube channel. I'm Natalie Porter and today we've got a video for you that was filmed all the way back in 2020 making a little floral display based on the movie The Little Mermaid. I love all those under the sea colours. It's got a lovely shell in it, which of course you can use in other cakes and designs as well. Don't forget, you can grab all your tools, equipment and colours from our website, immaculateconfections.co.uk. Do join us on Facebook. You can join our group, Natalie's Cake Studio, where you can ask questions, get some help and share what you make, and of course hit that like and subscribe button over here on YouTube, and that really helps us out a lot. Enjoy! Good evening everybody. One day I'm going to learn to say hello without making a stupid voice. I don't know why. Okay, so this is my little Ariel face. She's alright. She's pretty easy to do. It's a little bit complicated with the hair, but we'll get there. And then these are the other bits that I was totally gonna like tape up and sort out before we came on. And then every time we do this, it goes from being like 5 o'clock to 7:30 in an instant. So we shall tape those together in a posy as we go. This is my bag of colours that I've been sort of using for all these things. So it's just they're all just fondant with Tylo in them, basically. So you just want Tylo powder or Gumtex, CMC, Gum Trag, something like that. So big cutter from the what is it? It's the Mix and Match Faces cutter. This one is its official name, isn't it? Right. So there is her face. And like I did last time, I'm just going to pop her onto a little square of greaseproof paper. So for her hair, this is a mixture of orange, magenta and a little bit of brown there to get the right colour, because I didn't want it to just be like orange because, you know, it shouldn't be. Okay, so we're going to want a series of wedges for this. And I used a bigger circle that I left over there. This is just from like a cookie cutter set, and this one is this is very precise. It's 3 7/16 of an inch, or indeed 88 millimeters. Okay, so look, I'm going to do a nice big slice with the little cutter, and then what we're aiming for is to line up this big one so that we get like a crescent moon shape. And then this one is going to be this piece of hair just here. So you just want to flick the end out like that. And then if you want to, you can use your Dresden tool. And we're just going to run just some lines in. It's nothing terribly precise. It's just giving the idea of sort of locks of hair there. And we want one for the other side. Like I said, I found it was better using this bigger cutter. If you've not got like the giant round cutters, you could totally just use the cutting wheel or a knife to do that. And this one is going to go on that side, so you're going to pop it there and then flick that bit around like that. But what I'm going to do is in fact come and just nip a little bit away there, because her hair's shorter at that side. I was looking at lots of pictures and stuff earlier on, and she's always sort of got this tuft of hair that goes up there and then it's kind of swept over to the one side. So again, we can just pop some little lines in like so. Okay, so we want 2 little wedges that are going to go to make the top of her hair. So I'm just going to do one like this and one like this, like that, and then another one that is about the same size, there and there. This one is going to go just here, so that wants to have some lines sort of like that, and then this one's going to go on top, and hopefully if you can see on there, you don't necessarily need the lines to go all the way to the end, they're just sort of flicking up. And then for this one we can just take that point there, and look, I've just made it flare up just a little bit more. Let's grab the little face. So this bit needs to go on over here, like that. And the trick was trying to give her the illusion of having long hair, but without having it coming too far down the bottom. I didn't want the hair to be too long, so that if you did want to put it onto a biscuit or a cupcake or something, you've not got this like hugely uncircular shape, because that would just be kind of annoying. And then that flick goes up there. And then the final thing that I did was just take another wedge, and you're going to cut it off so that you've got this sort of triangular-y shape. And again, we can pop some lines in there and just stick that one just under there, just so that she's got like a bit of hair behind her shoulder as well. Alright, so I'm just going to peel these off. That one can come out of the way altogether. And I'm going to stick them down and be quite liberal with the water, just so that if we want to slide anything around and reposition it, we can do. And then this one down here, what I did before, so you can wet the left hand side of it, because that's going to sit underneath that other bit of hair. And then if you use just a smidgen of glue on the edge there, it will, lift that up. There we go. She will sit. Okay, just there. So that is her and all of her hair done, which is definitely the hardest bit. So again, I'm going to take my littlest ball tool and we're going to make the sort of eye sockets. And the trick with these, so this this was the second one that I did, because the first one, if you put the mouth too high up, they end up looking like they've got a really big chin, which doesn't look quite right.
Not the most flattering look, but
no, it's not. So you want to have, the eyes are actually about halfway down the face and relatively far apart, like that. And I've got my little black pearls again, but if you've not got any of these, then you can of course just do some little black balls of fondant or flour paste or whatever. I've just got to pick two that are more or less the same size, which they look like they are. So this sort of curved thing on the end of this spiky thing, which we couldn't decide collectively whether or not it was like a little spoon for petal dust or a smile or what, but I reckon we can use it as a smile. And then just make sure that it gets in the middle. Pop the indent in there. For her eyes, I'm just going to use a little dab of glue to hold them in place. Like that. And like that. So a tiny little bit of black, and I found that the best way to roll it out was on my palm. Doing it on the board or whatever, it sort of squished itself, whereas I found that this was a little bit easier. I'm going to take a little knife and just cut it to about the right length, which I think is just about 1 centimetre, give or take. And then we can pop it on the face, and then like a surgeon, use the end of the Dresden tool. Oh no, see look, it's doing that thing again where you end up with your finger is stickier than the thing, and therefore it sticks to you instead of staying put. A little bit of cornflour on my fingers there. And that should just, there we go. You can sit it in that little groove from the smiley thing. So we just need a little bit of blusher. So I've got my soft pink again. I'm just going to take a tiny little bit and just sort of, no, that was too tiny, we can't even see it. And just dab it on her cheeks. Oh, now look, and that was loads. Right, let me get rid of that on the brush, and we can just soften that down a bit. I'm going to roll it out with the rolling pin. So it's like I've done all of these, they're fairly thick, none of it's terribly thin. And how did I do this? I think I cut an oval, one of the little ovals there, and then chopped the bottom off and just squidged it together like that, so that you've got a sort of shell shape. There we go. And then you can use your Dresden or a little knife or whatever to just put some lines in it. And I'll squash it back together. So that's the little shell. Because I needed something, I know that she doesn't technically have a shell in her hair, typically, but I needed something to make her sort of sea-ified. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there and press the shell on, if I can pick it up. There we go, like that. I'm going to use a tiny ball tool to just make a little dip in the end there, and then I've got some sugar pearls. These are just Sainsbury's ones, and they're those weird ones that they're not they don't break your teeth. They're crunchy, but they're not actually, they don't break your teeth like I remember with the silver ones, you know, yeah, tooth breakers. Anyway, that is irrelevant, but yes, just a little pearl, spot of glue in there, put the pearl on, and there she is, a little Ariel complete with a hairpiece. So to do these funny little corally squiggly things that I hope are going to look like corally squiggly things once they're taped together, I've done my flower paste with a half and half blue and green mixture. So I did my usual trick of making up some very blue and some very green and mixing them, and I'll show you that with our next colour. But yeah, this one it's half and half of the colours, and we're just going to make a sausage like so. Take a bit of 28 gauge wire, although if you were doing this on 26 or 24 it wouldn't matter, to be honest. Glue in there on the wire even, and we're just going to insert it up the into the sausage. So you can see that having inserted it and just rolling it down a bit on the board, I find it easier doing it on the board than my fingers, and you can sort of feel where the wire is in there, so as long as it's not too far from the top you'll be okay. And then if you want to, you can just bend it over your finger a bit so that you've got a squiggly wiggly shape. And then all I did to do the texture was use a pokey tool. I think this was my preference for that one, or you can use your pointy end of your Dresden or a pin, or well, anything pokey and pointy really. And you're just going to go and pop these little dots all over. It's as simple as that, so it's just a playing with texture jobby rather than anything else. This lovely colour here was, I think I totally should have written this down, it came out the wee book. I'm going to look it up. So these colours have all come from the blue page. Oh, there we go. So it's 4 parts blue to 1 part green is that. I would have a lump of white and I would do 4 blue dots the same size and 1 green one. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the blue and 1 green one, mix them into the white, and you should get a shade of that colour, which is a lovely bright sort of sea blue type affair. I'm going to use the FMM Foliage All Sorts leaf tappets to do these, and I'm hoping in my head they're going to make like a seaweedy thing, but like I said I ran out of time to type them together, so we'll see. To tape them together. I've rolled my paste out quite thick because we want a sort of succulent-y look to them. Like the seaweed is puffy, it's not really thin, so it's quite thick. So press firmly, give it a wiggle, but don't be frightened of it. They're such nice big shapes, they come out pretty easily. Alternatively, it is a big enough shape.
Are you supposed to grease them a little bit?
No, you can do it with corn flour, but they're big enough that you can totally like prod them out with a fingernail or with a tool or something, basically. Oh god, how typical is that? Fairly thick for these. And I've used those 2 sizes, so it's sort of the second smallest and the third smallest. I'm going to put this back in the bag, and we're doing these on 28 gauge wire. So you need a tiny little dip of glue, and you don't want it swimming, so quite often if I dip it in I'll just roll it on the back of my hand so that there's just a little bit of glue. You hold the one thing nice and firmly in these fingers, and the trick is you don't want to hold it like this, you hold it like that, because that means that you're touching quite a lot of it and you can, like, you'll be able to feel the wire. With this hand holding the wire, so we've got a little bit of glue on there, hold it quite close to the end. If you hold it like this, it's going to be much harder to get that precision movement and control where the end is. So hold it quite near to the end of the wire, and then you're just going to stick it in. And because you're holding that leaf like this, so like that, you can feel it. And it is one of those things that the more you do it, it does get easier. So for that one, this colour here, it's loads of blue, loads of green, and a little bit of black. And I'm going to do my roll it thicker at one side than the other trick. So I've got it rolled there, sort of into a squashed sausage. And then you're rolling again and just increasing the pressure as you go away from you so that you've got a thick end. But like I did before, this is still pretty thick because we want that sort of fleshy look to it. Kelp, that's it, kelp. They have them in California, don't they? Kelp forests.
Yeah.
On the west coast. Right, so I'm going to cut this out and we want the base of the leaf to be at the thicker side. Give it a wiggle, and because I've cut it so thick, I might need to come behind here and just run my fingers over the cutter, and that's just because I've done it really, really thick. And in fact, I'm just going to do that there, and then get rid of these bits. And then I'm just going to use the other end. You can use a ball tool, finger, brush, whatever you want, something, to just prodding out there. Prodding out gently. Oh, right. It's broken at the bottom, but that doesn't matter because, in fact, look, here, I'm going to make a little kelp. And that is broken simply because of having the paste so thick is all. I probably needed it just a tiny bit thinner. This little kelp, I've decided it's kelp now, and this little kelp starts off as the big kelp, and I've just cut bits off of it, just so we've got one cutter, but we're making different shapes and pulling it and whatever to get a variety of things. Oh look, this is going to be stuck in there forever. I will worry about that later on. So I wanted another texture for these, so for no particularly good reason, I decided to use a little ball tool and just prod it, really, a little bit all over. And you can see where I've dusted over it with lime. Hopefully it will show up, but it kind of picks up those little divots and stuff quite nicely. So I've got a green wire, 28 gauge again, but if you were working on 26 or 24 it wouldn't be the end of the world by any stretch. So a little bit of glue on the end, same deal, you want to hold the leaf so that you can feel it. Now I'm just going to try and pop the wire in there, pinch the end shut. See, and the glorious thing about making things that are made up, like my little kelp fronds, is that if a bit falls off or it breaks or whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, pinch the end shut, and then what I did earlier was I had some little twists of kitchen paper, so I just popped them down to dry, sort of a little higgledy-piggledy so that it's there. Modelling paste in with the flour paste so that you've got something softer that you can curl up, because if you do this just with flour paste, where it's so strong, especially the squires, because it's very strong and it dries so quickly, you sort of run the risk of it cracking, so it's a bit half and half. Or you could do, if you haven't got any modelling paste, you could do flour paste and fondant would do it as well. And then to get that nice colour, it is just a tiny little bit of the yellow. So you can see, like, there's just a weeny bit there. Let's mix that in. So you want to make a sort of tapered sausage, and you can make the thin end quite thin, because that's going to curl right in on the inside, like that. That should do it. And then we can use a ball tool to get stuck on the end. Hang on, if I find it. Maybe, okay, I'm going to go for this, the cone thing at the end there. That'll do. Did you see I've made a hole in the end? And then I can just use my fingers just to sort of stretch and accentuate that a little bit. And even roll with it. That should get us started. So we're just going to roll up the end and make sure that you get that inside nice and tight. And keep rolling it round, just like that. And I found when I did it earlier that it stuck to itself to a point. But when I got to about here, it needed a little bit of glue. So we can just get the shape and the roll correct first. And then once it's kind of in position, unpeel it a little bit, just wax some glue on the inside there and roll it back up, and it will. You might need to keep adjusting him for a second, but it'll eventually stay. Then I just took my Dresden tool and you're just going to pop some lines on it. And you can do this on both sides if you want, but I didn't bother for my first one because I think I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do with it, I think. So we'll see. And then to stick it on a wire, I need a bit of 20 gauge wire, so something nice and thick. Put like a 90-degree angle in the bit of wire there, and we're going to heat it up. And you could totally do this like with a hook and glue in the normal way, but as you know, I'm always in a rush, which is why I always do things like this. But I think that's good because it's burning my fingers. And then look, you're going to shove it in there and turn it as you do. You may end up with this ugly bit and an almighty puff of smoke actually, but that is going to hold that on there. Oh, dust, the fun bit. Okay, let me put these tools away. A little bit of blue, a little bit of teal just on the base there, as you can see. Just like that. And I think they look really cool. I love these colours, they are the best colours in the world. So for the little kelpie bits, I tried a couple of things, but what I decided in the end looked really cool was if we're not putting any dark green on it or anything because it's dark enough, but take a good lump of the lime on your brush and just come in these long sweeps over it, and I'm really hoping it shows up. If it doesn't, I'll post pictures. I need to do the Snow White pictures too. If you go in just the one direction, it kind of catches all those bumps, so it looks like you got this really cool two-toned kind of complicated thing that could not be less complicated to have dusted and stuff. Oh look, that one shows up nicely there, I think. So these little twisty things, just a tiny bit of the teal just over them. Again, it's just going to catch some of the bumps. That's the fresh one. That was one I dusted earlier, so you can just sort of see the distant difference there. It's just a little bit more coloury. New word. And again, we'll do the same. Oh, that was blue. Ah, never mind. I also made earlier, and if you want to know how to do these, you can catch up. So this was the first live we did under red in the colour challenge unit. So I just made a whole bunch of little lime green berries, which I think I might dust those after I tape them together. And the only reason that I've done that is because lime and like teal and blue together look wicked. It always does. It's one of those colour combinations that just sort of pops basically. And then I've also done some of the little ruffle fillers. So this is what we did on, I showed you guys how to do this on Sunday when we did Snow White. So I've just done them in a really pale purple, so it's just my white paste with a little bit of the purple there. And then big brush, little bit of dust, and you're just sort of flicking all over so that it picks up the edges. It's a hugely imprecise thing, but I've done some of those as well. So let's start off with just a little bit of yellow. And I might come, oh, okay, this is a good starting point. So I'm going to come up from the outside of it. Because this is sort of, we want to give it, she says in quotes, realistic-y shading. So I mean, it's not entirely realistic because it's coming out of a thing. But I'm sure if you were to repeat this in more sensible colours than bright yellow, that it would work. So yeah, so that yellow coming up from the underneath, just like that. And then I might take my smaller brush and see if I can't, that's it, work some on the inside of the spiral there. And then a couple of streaks coming up following those lines. I'm going to pop a smidgen of orange into the yellow there to make just ever such a slightly darker yellow. Like that. And then I've got a much thinner sort of flat brush here that I'm just going to use to accentuate those lines that we marked on. And yeah, okay, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to put some, what's the name on it? Shimmery stuff. I think I might go for this one, which is, what is this? This is Pearl Lemon Sorbet, obviously.
Pearl Lemon Sorbet?
That's what it says.
Crazy name.
And I've got a different brush, because once you've used a brush for lustre, you will never get the sparkle out. I've got an old brush, and I think I might try putting it on. So again, I'm going to follow that inside curl and go from the inside of the curl up. For my little berries here, I'm going to use the mint green tape, which is very exciting because I spotted this on the website and bought it for myself as a treat. Right, so with the berries tonight, I want to try and tape them into a sort of clustery branch, as it were. So I'm going to attach my tape onto one of them there and put the next one up. It's really close there, so really close together, coming down the stem. And again, I don't know what plant this is, I just thought that doing it like this would make it look a bit sea-ish. And then look, we can give them a little bend and a twist and a shape and whatever, just so that we've got like it's a wiggly sea thing. So I've got darker green tape because why not? And these, I think I'm gonna put a little bend in one. They're not the driest things, and just tape these together. I'm going to use my mint green tape again, and I think that maybe if I tape this right up to here, I might be able to attach more than one sea slugs. Can we call them sea slugs?
They're a bit sea sluggy.
Do you know what I'll call actually? Sea cucumbers. Actually no, look, that looks very seaweedy now there's three of them together. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so these little things, I'm going to tape them into like a branchy thing. So I'm just laying them out because I always find with these it's easier to tape them together if you've got an idea of what's going where before you start, because otherwise it's easy to lose track once you're doing it. And I'll use the mint green because then I can overdust that with, I think it's by the kettle actually, possibly. I'm going to attach the tape on this, as always, and I want it about an inch down. Oh, actually no I don't, that would be for a normal branch. I'm going to do these closer together because we're making up sea plants instead of making actual branches. Right, so put a little kink, hold it alongside and wrap the tape, and we can come down a bit and then do one going the other way. Oh, I think this might work. And then one going this way, and you can see because like they're quite thick and everything, so I'm not worried about whether it's a left one or a right one. It's just a one. See, this is the nice thing about when you make stuff up, that you can't do it wrong because it's not, you know, you're not basing it off of anything. Yeah, see, look, I reckon let's give this a little bend and a twist and a bit more shape. I think that's kind of under the sea-ish. And then the thing the thing with the branches is to make sure that you take some colour and run it over the tape. And the tape usually takes the colour pretty well because it's waxy, so it's a little bit sort of gummy and sticky still. And look what a difference it makes colouring that branch there. And I'm going to start off with the shell, I think. I want some of those and some of those together, and maybe one of my little branches of sea grapes. In fact, look, I can bend that one over there and put, oh, I need another hand, put the sea grapes in the middle like this. And I think that's quite a nice little arrangement, so that that can sit kind of there. Yeah, okay, aha. And this, I'm not being terribly neat with the tape here, I just want to get them attached and keep them together. For these, I might tape a couple together, just like that. Maybe, nope. Okay, well, we're definitely going to want some purple down there, so I think I can attach those just there. So yes, that's our Little Mermaid, and I'll pop her wee face too. There we go. I'm really enjoying this, and thanks guys for coming and watching. I'm glad you guys like it too, because yeah, it's a bit of fun. I hope you enjoyed that video. You'll find links to our website and our group on Facebook in the description below. Don't forget, give us a like and subscribe to the channel, and why not check out one of these other videos we've got.